During my college years, I had a unique experience with my aunt by marriage. Being an only child, I wasn't part of a wealthy family, but my maternal grandfather, who owned a building materials business, provided well for us. He built a two-story Western-style house where he lived with my grandmother on the first floor. When it was time for me to go to school, I moved into the second floor of my grandmother's house, which had previously been rented out. My mother has a younger brother by 10 years. My uncle, who lived alone near his workplace, frequently visited my grandmother. My parents ran a business in the local market, leaving my grandmother to raise me for the most part. During my senior year of high school, both my grandparents passed away within a month of each other, leaving our family in shock. A few months later, my mother's only brother got married. While my mother married in her early 20s and had me, my uncle, busy with his job, didn't marry until his 30s after being introduced to someone. He married a woman in her late 20s, having been an only child. The introduction of an aunt by marriage felt quite novel to me. I remember the first time I met her. She had a healthy complexion and a slim figure. She complimented me, saying, "I heard you're a great student. Just push through this semester and you'll be a college student. Hang in there," and generously gave me $200, telling me to buy whatever I wanted to snack on while studying. It felt exciting to receive allowances from someone who seemed more like an older sister than an aunt, despite the small age difference. My uncle took over the first floor of the house, previously used by my grandmother, and used it as their marital home. My aunt, who was cheerful and easygoing, seemed to have no complaints about living in the same house as her in-laws, replacing my busy mother who left early for the market and returned late. My aunt often called me downstairs to eat, insisting, "It's okay for a student to gain weight. Eat well now, you can lose weight later," and always prepare delicious meals. Cooking was her hobby, and she was good at it. Besides her beauty, her cool personality made me think I'd like to date someone like her. Once I entered college, my uncle worked in construction and often had to stay away from home for weeks due to out-of-town projects. Despite her busy life, my aunt took great care of me, especially considering my status as a student preparing for exams. I did well on my entrance exams and was accepted into the college of my choice, becoming the first child on both sides of my family to go to college, which brought celebrations from the entire family. One weekend, while I was resting and eating food after visiting my paternal grandmother, my father, feeling a sense of accomplishment now that his son was off to college, joyfully shared drinks with my uncle, saying, "Now that my son is off to college, I feel like my duties are fulfilled." My father congratulated me sincerely on turning 20, saying, "Now that you're 20, you can drink, but being an adult doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. You have to be responsible for your actions." I don't think I've ever felt as good as I did that day. But then, something even better happened. My dad, mom, and uncle were all drunk and asleep, leaving just my aunt and me awake in the living room. My aunt reminisced. "I remember when I started college. My parents wanted me to go into law, but I stubbornly chose business management instead. It worked out well for me. I'm satisfied with my job, and I met a wonderful man like your uncle." She looked so beautiful, smiling. I had just received some scholarship money from my dad and uncle, and my aunt handed me a beautifully decorated envelope congratulating me. I felt bad for receiving money from her, saying, "You've already done so much for me, why give me extra?" But she insisted, "It's from my heart. I'm so proud of you. You're handsome. You'll be the most popular student on campus." My aunt and I ended up drinking a lot. She leaned on the sofa, slightly slurred, and asked for my help to her bedroom. After helping her as I was about to leave, she asked me to stay for a moment. Initially, it was awkward, but soon it felt fulfilling. I told her, "I've never seen someone as beautiful as you," and hugged her. She confessed, "Your uncle hardly comes home, always tired and sleeping. I've been so lonely." I asked if we could meet again, and she said, "Of course, it's been a while since I've been alone. Whenever you want, it's okay." She kept her promise. When my uncle was away on a business trip, she texted me to meet on the first floor. Since my parents were busy closing up their shop and came home after 10 p.m., my aunt and I had a great time together. We even cooked together in the kitchen. She mentioned how different it felt to spend time with a reliable nephew like me, rather than barely seeing her busy husband. On days they met, the aunt would buy meat on her way home from work, and they'd grill it together, enjoying each other's company. She shared that she had become pregnant after a rare occasion with her husband, who was often away for work, leading them to visit the OB/GYN together. Despite losing weight due to morning sickness, the aunt's beauty shone through. The speaker helped by ordering food suitable for a pregnant woman, supporting her through the tough times. After a healthy birth, the new baby held a special significance for the speaker, who had grown up alone. They frequently visited the aunt and baby, taking on errands in the uncle's absence. Post-pregnancy, the aunt gained weight but saw beauty in her changed appearance, as did the speaker. They found moments to alleviate the aunt's loneliness, deeply enriching their early 20s. Now married with 3 children, the speaker fondly recalls these memories, often bursting into laughter at the thought of the aunt.